Well, it was an emotional moment at the church in Greater Manchester, when the British Prime Minister David Cameron and thousands of mourners attended the military funeral of Fusilier Lee Rigby. The 25-year-old soldier from Middletown was killed in Woolwich, southeast London in May. His commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Taylor, said in a eulogy that he had been a true regimental character. After the service, his body was taken for a private burial at Middleton Cemetery along roads lined by mourners. The soldier's family, who were greeted by applause as they arrived with his son, wearing a T-shirt showing the words, "My daddy, my hero," have thanked people across the world for their overwhelming support.
The tearful family of murdered British soldier Lee Rigby arrived for his funeral to applause from thousands of well-wishers who lined the streets to pay their respects. The 25-year-old Fusilier was hacked to death on the streets of southeast London in May by two men wielding knives and a meat cleaver. Rigby, who had served in Afghanistan, was walking back to his Woolwich barracks when he was attacked in broad daylight. The funeral took place in Bury, in the north of England, and the service was relayed via a public announcement system so members of the public and veteran Fusiliers could follow proceedings from the street. British Prime Minister David Cameron and London Mayor Boris Johnson were in attendance. Earlier, his mother and stepfather paid an emotional tribute to Lee.
He was so loving, he really was. He was so loving. Do anything for anybody. He had an heart of gold. He wouldn't hurt anybody. You know, he was
a devoted soldier. He loved what he was doing. He believed in what he was doing. But he was still a family man. And that's what meant, you know, his sisters and his son, he was devoted. And he'd have done anything, you know, whatever happened, they came first, and then his job, which meant the world to him, being in the army, but his family still came first.
The family has been overwhelmed by messages of support from across the UK and from overseas. Flowers and cards are still arriving at the family home and at the Woolwich barracks. Two men, Michael Adebolajo and Michael Adebowale, have been charged with Rigby's murder. Adebolajo is also accused of attempting to murder two police officers at the scene.